Hello everyone, and welcome to my first devlog on how I created my first game within a month in the Unreal Engine. The idea started because I only started projects that I never finished. However, this time I'm determined to totally finish this first project, and I set a deadline of a month to see how far I can get in this time limit and in the end publish it. So, in this video I will show you how I went from this to this within a month. I began with opening a new project in Unreal Engine 4. I started by adjusting the material of the floor to a different grid material so that it now looks a bit nicer during the prototyping stage. And after that I scaled the floor so that we now have some space to actually play on. I also added some big cubes that will function as a wall in the world, and that way I can see how objects interact with them. Then I started by creating a simple first-person character blueprint with a wand in its hand. I then added a capsule to the mesh, so now we have an epic player model. I added some basic code, so now we should be able to push some blocks along the map as our first magic spell. I added some code to the player character, so that we are walking faster when holding the shift key. Then I thought to myself, what magic game is without potions? So I decided to open Blender to model a couple of potions. Okay, great. We have some potions and they are spinning, but what should they do? I thought it would be a good idea to pick them up, and you should be able to perform special magic spells with them after consuming them. First, we need to know how many do we have. For this I made a new widget, and this widget keeps track on how much potions we have collected. I place a couple of potions in the game and see if we can pick them up. It seems to work great, and the widget is updating the amount that we picked up. For the landscape, I had a great marketplace asset that I wanted to use, since I did not want to waste too much time with creating foliage and trees and focus on the game itself. After everything was imported, I added a new landscape with the new grass material that was included in the pack. I removed the cubes and reused one of them to use it as a new floor to walk on and spawn objects for testing purposes. I started with sculpting the landscape to make it a bit more interesting to walk on. After that, I experimented a bit with the new foliage and trees, so that I would get a good distribution of different plants throughout the landscape. I also painted some pathways on the landscape to get an idea where we want to have plants and where not. After having a short walk on the landscape, it was time to add some game elements to the map. I decided I wanted to have some portals scattered throughout the landscape, so I opened Blender again and made a basic portal model for it. The idea is that the portal will teleport the player to a new level where you should complete some puzzles and collect a special object at the end of the level. You can bring this object back to the main map, and after collecting enough of these special objects, you should be able to open a big portal to finish the game. Since we now only have a basic floor, I went back to Blender to model the big portal where the player should be able to finish the game. So, after modeling the final portal in Blender, I imported it in Unreal and created materials for the model. When that was completed, I implemented a simple code so that the floor of the portal would open up and float in the air. After that, you should be able to fall in the hole in the ground and you would complete the game. However, I don't want the portal to open up on itself. I had the idea that you can place crystal spheres on pedestals, and when all of the spheres are collected, the portal should open and you can finish the game. The spheres you should be able to collect at the end of each level. For the crystal material, I used a tutorial I found on YouTube, but also made some modifications for my own project. After creating the crystal spheres, I wanted to add an extra mechanism to my game. I decided I want to go towards a puzzle platformer game. So I wanted to have a special object that you can collect and that will be able to activate moving platforms, raise pillars from the ground or these kind of things. So I opened Blender again and had a great idea to make an egg. Because what sounds more logical than collecting a special egg that can activate switches. After some tweaking and to have physics working with the egg and to be able to place them on a pedestal, I decided that the capsule as a character model is not working anymore. So, did you know that I also livestream my game development on Twitch? It is a great way to check out how I model my game assets for this project and how I build a game in general. So make sure to follow my Twitch and you can find the link in the comment section below and see when I go live. I used Mixamo for the majority of my animations. But I also created some custom animations when holding eggs or when holding runes. After collecting the animations, I imported the player character and assigned the correct materials to the model. I also decided that I was not happy anymore with the first person view and wanted to switch to a third person view. Therefore I deleted the capsule character and added the spring arm to the camera. After this, I created an animation blueprint for the character. After having a character in the world, I added some simple effects to the eggs so that they release some particles every couple of seconds. Now it was time for creating the first simple puzzle, so that new players can easily figure out on how to solve it. The idea is to grab the magic wand and activate the stone. This in turn will raise a pillar from the ground, and with jumping you are now able to collect one of the special eggs. But then it happened. My mind completely changed around the game and how I imagined it. I was not liking the current way the game was going and decided some major changes need to happen. But this I leave for the next video since I had too much footage to pack it into one video. But if you are unable to wait for the next video, you can already play the game for free on itch.io. Go to the comment section below and click the link to play it now. But for now, have a nice day and I see you in the next video.